Hey guys, just got back from the thrift store, found the Discman. Now let me give you a tip. Whenever you're buying stuff like this, it's always a good idea to check the battery compartment before you take it to the checkout. But this particular unit, it was in a bag and I wasn't able to check it out. But look how good a condition this is in. I'm sure it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out of here and just take a look and just show you that, that's a guideline and not necessarily a rule. Son of a... I wanted to pop in here and do a quick little video about this little Discman here. This also has some corrosion on one of its battery contacts. It's pretty bad, and I thought I'd show you guys how to repair this. And let's get started. I've already got it apart and kind of taken a look at what's going on, and it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to fix, but at the same time not super easy, I guess. All right, so let's get this off. And I'm not sure if you can see right here, that contact here, it's so corroded it's turning green. This had corrosion on this contact also. You might be able to see it a little bit, but it's not really bad. I'll just be able to wipe that off. But this one, I'm going to have to take this connector off and soak it in vinegar, I think. Luckily, this was made at a time where they were still using a few through-hole components, so these are anchored through-hole, and I should be able to get it off fairly easily. All right, let's get started. See if you see the pad. Here's this piece. This is pretty bad. So what I want to do first, well, let's get this out of the way. Okay, so I want to scrape off the bulk of this. So that way, it take less time in the vinegar bath. You can see it's a little better. Like I said, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so let's get to the vinegar. I'm going to look at the board again just to make sure these other contacts are fine. Okay, so there's that piece. And we're just going to drop that in there. Make sure it's fully submerged. Yeah, okay. Okay, those two pieces are in there, and I'm going to let those set for, I don't know, probably a good at least 12 hours. Alright, we'll see you in just a little bit. Okay, so I think I've got these clean enough. They look pretty good, pretty good. So really all I have left now is to pull these out, rinse them off, get the vinegar off there, then they'll need to dry for a bit. And then I want to clean this board. It has still a little bit of corrosion left on there. Yeah, just clean that off on the top side. So first things first, let me clean these off. But it looks much better. It was black and green before, and now it's just kind of that dull color. So we're just gonna rinse these guys off. I think that's good. Okay, so now we just need to let these dry. It's just about as good as it's going to get. So this time to hurry up and wait. All right, so I'm back. I have a little bit of another snafu. If you can see it, it's hard to tell with the camera. Here, and this button right here looks okay. And I looked at the board underneath the magnifying glass, and I didn't see any other corrosion. So hopefully this is as far as it went. We'll see. Okay, let's pull those off and take a look. You can see there's a decent amount of corrosion that got underneath there. I sure hope it didn't get into the board. But these guys, I'm not sure how to handle this. I think I'm just going to dunk them into the vinegar, then rinse them out and dry them. Let's see that corrosion on there. So we're just going to use a toothbrush and wipe off the surface, get as much off that way, and then I'm just going to dunk it. Alright, that sucker's bubbling pretty good. Okay, let's see if I can do anything about this. And I'm just going to wipe this down. Those pads look good. It's pretty clean. I'm just checking this with a magnifying glass. Okay. So, all right, at this point, we're just going to let these guys soak in here for a little bit. We're also drying these, so these guys are already pretty dry. Okay, that's it for now. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so I've got all my pieces as clean as they're going to get, I think. Yeah, it sucks about these buttons. But anyway, here's all the components we removed. We got the 2 tack switches. And the battery contacts. Everything I think is fine. I've gotten the corrosion off of there. The board has been cleaned. I scrubbed this with vinegar and then water. I've also got the case. The case had some residual corrosion on it as well, and so I rinsed that off, wiped it down with vinegar, and then rinsed it off again. And it's drying right now. So I think we're ready to reattach the parts and get this thing back together and see if it works. I don't even know if it works. Do all this work and then have some other issue, you know, in the board, or maybe the laser. But we'll see. You know, it's a fun process, even if it's a failure. All right, so let's get this out of the way. And by out of the way, I mean in front of me so I can solder on it. Okay, so, all right, let's get started. Okay, so I had a little bit of a snafu, or an issue. This tack switch right here, I went and I pulled out my multimeter, and I wanted to test these just to see if they're getting contact, you know, when the button was pressed. And this one was showing there was no connection when the button was pressed. So I guess there's some more corrosion inside. So what I'm going to do, these 3 buttons here, they're forward, back, and this is stop, which are kind of important for the, you know, usage of this unit. These right here, these are volume, and this one right here is menu. I think I can at least get enough basic functions out of this to test it without the menu button. So I'm going to pull the menu button off, and I'm going to put it over here, and then we'll put it back together and see if it works. So the next step is to take this off. Alright, so that's that button. Okay, let's get these components put back on. And I think I need to straighten some pins. Okay, so my battery died on me when I was working on these, getting these this battery connector attached. I had a hell of a time getting this thing on here. I think maybe some of the plating came off in the process of getting rid of the corrosion, and it just, the solder didn't want to flow. I had to use some flux, and it took me a couple tries, but I got it. You can see this. It's not a great. You can see where I got a little too hot there, but the joint's nice and strong. Same with these guys. So at this point, all that's left is to put this back together and see if it works. Well, let's throw a battery in it. I don't know why I was thinking it'd take AAA. It doesn't look like the stop is working. Well, okay, I'm gonna have to work on the switch issue a little bit more and figure out if maybe the corrosion did something to the board, maybe something shorting out there. Most likely, I think the switches themselves just aren't working properly. So, all right, we'll move on to that. Okay, so the switches just came in. Now let's hope they fit. It hurt me to buy these because I could have bought 100 switches from China for $10, and instead I bought 20 switches from the United States for $10. It hurt, but I wanted to get this project done. What am I going to do with 100 of these things anyway? Okay. Let's just add a little flux here. Those look pretty good. Now I just need to get some clippers and clip off these leads. I think we're about done. Okay, so it's playing. Going forward, one back. Now the question, and we stop. Cool. I think it's working. I think that's a good view there. Off and stop. Huh. Cool. I think this is pretty much done. I'm just going to clean off. It's got some good. Well, I mean, it's not a minty fresh Discman, but you know what? It's nice to get something like this up and running again. And this one is actually going to go back into service. My girlfriend really wanted this. She likes the shape and size of it, as opposed to the one she's been using, which I think is round. So there we go. Another one saved. Well, this is it. Thanks for watching. I hope this wasn't too boring, but all right, take care.